This is a short video explaining how to make a slab pot. So I'm just going to talk you through what I'm doing. First of all, I'm going to weigh the clay, roughly 280 grams or more, which makes sure that I've got enough clay to make the right size slab. I'd like you to think about how you could integrate numeracy into this lesson. I've given one idea there, but if you could make some notes ready for when you come in to the session, because that's something that we're going to develop later on during the morning. So I'm turning each time I roll to make sure that the clay doesn't stick to the board. I've got a template of a square. Arguably, I suppose you could get the children to measure it out because they'd be using measuring skills. But if it's not a perfect square, they're going to have problems when they come to assemble it into a pot. So I find the best skill to develop during a lesson like this is the weighing as opposed to the measuring. So that's my first square made. And you'll see in a moment that I swap and I use a slightly smaller square for the sides of the pot. So I've got the top and the base made first. And you'll also see I've got two sticks either side of the wooden base. That it's really important to have a set of sticks for the children so that each slab is the same depth. Otherwise you get thin bits and fat bits, and again it will affect the quality of the pot. So there you can see I've got the smaller pieces of clay for the sides, and I'm turning it over to use the dry part. Otherwise the clay will stick. So what I'm doing now is going back to one of the two larger pieces, and I'm making some glue for clay, which is called slip. And all it is a little bit of water and a blob of clay, and just mush it around until it's the consistency of PVA glue. So I've made my slip, and now I'm decorating the sides of my pot. And again, when you're in uni with doing the session, we'll talk about putting this into a context for learning, because there's lots of different ideas that you could link to other subjects. So you can make marks in the clay with anything really, just very similar to what we did with the printing, where we had a range of tools to print with. So I've just got a fork here. I had a circular top. Pen tops are really good. Anything that'll make a mark in the clay. We've gone straight into making a pot, but it's a really good idea, just like we do with the other sessions, is to let the children just do a test tile first, so that they can just feel what the clay is like, how hard they can press, before going straight through, what sort of marks they can make. So it's always a good idea to do a test tile first. This clay is air drying clay, so it doesn't have to be fired in a kiln, because schools really can't afford to run a kiln. Air drying clay has got a fibre running through it. So if you split a piece of the clay apart, you'll see little bits of fibre. And it's nowhere near as durable as kiln-fired clay. You couldn't, make a teapot out of it and pour water in it. It would just go back to its original state. But it's a good resource to use, because it does feel like real clay in preparation for when they start to do art in Key Stage 3 and 4. So you can see I'm decorating each side. You can spend more time planning what you want to do with the patterns for yours. And again, I will link it up to a topic, but I'm just giving you the idea of different things you could use to make a pattern. There's no need to decorate the base because you won't see that. So just the four sides and the top. And again, really good links to maths across the curriculum, because you can talk about the sides, the edges, and obviously the name of the shape that you're making, which is a cube. Those things on the right-hand side are called coils, and they're used to strengthen the joins, which I'll talk about again in a minute. So just start collecting anything really that will make a mark in the clay. That one I'm decorating now is the top. It's going to make the lid. So feel free to watch this video as many times as you like until you feel confident with the techniques and the vocabulary. So I've scored one side or one edge, or I'm scoring now the bottom. Whenever you connect two pieces of clay together, you need to go through this same process, otherwise it will just fall apart. So I've scored the edge there, and now I'm scoring the edge of one of the sides. And it is really important that you do this, otherwise when it dries it'll just fall apart. So I'm just putting some slip, which is the name for clay glue, on both edges, and then just joining it together, smoothing down the join without affecting the pattern too much. And then I'm taking one of those coils that I talked about earlier. So push the coil into the join, and then you take a round ended modelling tool and smooth out the coil just to strengthen and secure that join. And once you've done that, it should stay upright on its own, which means then you can work on your second piece. And you repeat that then for all the sides. Scoring both edges, and applying the slip. And then don't forget to take your coils to reinforce the join. And if you do that on every join, it will dry nice and securely. It's quite a good idea to do an activity like this with the children, working in pairs so they can help each other and hold the sides of the pot. You've got a choice if you want to work in pairs to do this when you're in the university session, or if you want to make one for yourself, that's fine as well. And you can see there I'm putting the last piece in and remembering to put the coil on every join. And you can talk to the children about, can they work out how many they're going to need, how many coils they're going to need. Obviously 4 for the bottom, and then 4 around the sides, but they don't need one for the top, but some of them might work on that calculation, so you can talk to them about that. It's a nice link to reasoning skill. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to make a handle for the top. So I'm just going to roll a piece of clay into a ball shape. You can do a ball, or you can do quite a fat sort of coil and bend it over like a handle. It's up to you. And again, scoring both where both pieces are going to touch. A little bit of slip on both sides. Press firmly. That should dry. It's a good idea to let these dry quite slowly. Don't put them near a radiator, because if they dry too quickly they will crack. So that's what it's going to look like when it's finished. You've got your top, and then make sure you get the children, or make sure you dry it flat. And that was a finished one that went quite quickly. Okay, so as I said, watch this as many times as you like, and then you'll be ready to make one for yourself in uni. Thank you, bye.